This video will show you how to get trending open rates and click-through rates using your Infusionsoft data and Excel with a pivot table. So the first thing you'll want to do is get the data out of Infusionsoft so that we can put it into Excel and start manipulating the data just a little bit. So to do that, go ahead and go into Marketing Reports, which is where I'm at. And there's a report called Email Broadcast Conversion Report. So I'm going to click on that. And what you'll see, I've already done some searches, but what you'll see is batch ID and date sent. I'm going to go ahead and pull this back to about 2013, which is when, in this case, this app was purchased, and some of the data, we'll have data in there for about 2 years to look back on. So I'm going to hit search, and what you'll notice is there's a lot of summary data in here, and then there are some actual subject lines. Just keep an eye on that, because what we're going to do is pull out the summary data altogether once we get it into Excel, because we don't need the summary since we'll be using all of the data. So I'm going to go to Actions Export, and I'm going to go ahead and unselect everything. All I really need is email subject, date sent, number opened, and number clicked here. And I'm going to go ahead and process that action. And let me open this up. All right. So we're in Excel now, and what you'll see again are some of these summary, get the dates right, but what you'll see is some of these summary options. We don't want those, so I'm going to use the data filter option to get rid of the blanks. So I just filtered it and got rid of all the blanks. So now we have all of the emails that were sent by subject in their individual batches, and in some instances it's really easy to calculate what's going on because there's just one sent, one opened, and one clicked. But when we start getting to thousands of numbers, that's where it starts getting a little more involved, and why we want to use Excel to do some of this information. So I'm going to click into my table, and I'm going to click Insert, and there's a Pivot Table option. It's going to ask me which table I'm referring to, and it's giving me kind of these marching ants all the way around the table that I'm looking at, which is perfect. That's what I want. I'm going to hit OK, and now it gives me some pivot table options. So I want in the date sent, I want that to be drugged down to the rows. And by default, Excel is going to give me a quarterly breakdown, even a monthly breakdown of what's going on. And there's just a couple of more technical things we'll need to do here really quickly. I'm going to actually open up all of these by month because I want a pretty good breakdown of what's going on. So there we go. So it's showing all the months now, 2013, 14, and 15. So I'm going to click into this pivot table, and now what we're going to have under the Analyze tab is somewhere, if you don't have this version, you should see somewhere a calculated field option. So I'm going to call this my open rate, which is really just the number of opens. I'm going to insert that, and then I'm going to divide it by the number sent. So opens divided by sent is your open rate. So hit OK, and that should open up a new option here. I'm going to double click on sum of open rate, and I'm going to choose average. And there we go. So in average, October 2014, the open rate was about 0.5. And as we can kind of pull some of these out by quarter or by month. So I'm going to add one more calculated field, which is going to be the click-through rate, or CTR. And again, I want to keep equals, and that's clicked divided by space, divide space, and that's sent. So click divided by sent. And again, showing sum, we want the average on a monthly basis. So these aren't going to be perfect because there's so many different factors, but it's going to give you an overall trend, and that's the main thing here. All right, so here we go. We've got some pretty good numbers to work with. I'm going to make this a little bit more digestible by going to home, changing these to percentages. There we go. So now we've got a better idea of what's going on with the click and open rate. The last thing I want to do to get a more of a visual option of visualization to see this data is I'm going to go to the pivot table. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm just going to use, in this case, a line graph, which is all I will need. And there you go. You'll start to see some information, some trending stuff. Get rid of this so that we can get better ideas to what's going on here. Now it looks like click-through rate seems pretty steady, but this open rate, so they purchased the app and they're doing some testing, so of course they're up front, their open rates are really high, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and get rid of 2013 altogether. We don't really even need that. I'm not sure what that is either. So there we go. So starting in Q1 of 2014 is when we have some data. And what you'll see is there's a funky low dip here in February of 2014, but really there's been a kind of a steady decline up until about June 2015. In this particular case, I know what had happened, which was there were some tags that went missing and some different things like that, and you know, their open rates, once they found that missing data, you can see skyrocketed right back up. They also did some more split testing, other things to make sure that they were sending more relevant information. So the main thing to see here, and if your data looks more like this as well, then you probably have, you know, list fatigue, which means you're sending too many emails or not relevant enough emails. You know, there's a couple different things you can do to make sure that your open rates and even click-through rates are climbing instead of declining. And this exercise will hopefully give you a little bit more information on how to do that. And if you have any other questions about it, let me know in the comments below. If you have any insights you'd like to add, please let me know as well. And would love to hear from you. Talk to you soon.